In this video, I'll show you how to build a custom web-based scheduling application in just a few minutes. Now, you might hear the term scheduling application and think of a simple, generic calendar. I'm talking about data-driven scheduling applications that integrate with core systems, drive workflows, and are completely tailored to your business. For sake of this video, let's suppose I work for a roofing and siding company who manage their appointment schedule in a spreadsheet. When a customer or prospect calls to set an appointment, the receptionist inputs the information in this spreadsheet and then contacts the salesperson. It's not very efficient. In this demo, I'll move the scheduling process to the web, give it mobile access, and add some cool automation features all in just a few minutes. The great part is we'll be making a custom solution faster than it takes to deploy a generic off-the-shelf scheduling tool. I'll be using our low-code development platform, Empower, as it simplifies the process. Now, Empower builds any type of application, but for this one, I need to select the calendar option since I'm making a scheduling app. In this demo, most of the data I need is in the scheduling spreadsheet that I just showed you. We'll need to upload that data into a database table first. It's a pretty simple process with Empower. Once I upload my spreadsheet, it identifies the fields and creates a table. Now I just need to select that table and choose all of the fields for my application. Now, one more thing. I already have a list of salespeople in a different database table. I want to pull some of that data out too. I'll just join those tables together real fast and pull out the name and email address since I'm going to need those fields later. Once I tell Empower how to sort this data, we're almost done. Now, one more thing before we build. Since we're building a calendar, we need to tell Empower what date and time field to organize our data by. I'll just do that real fast, and now we're done. Once I click build, I can just sit back and wait while Empower puts everything together for me. And now this is just the first step in the process. Empower is putting our data in a calendar format now. We'll get to customize the look and feel in a little bit. Okay, so now that it's ready, let's check it out. As you can see, we do have a calendar here, but it does need some customization. I don't want to include every piece of information in each listing, as that would make for a huge calendar. And also, since I can get all of that information when I click on each calendar entry here. The other thing I'd like to do is adjust this form here. And I can do all of that in Empower's visual editor, MPainter. I could do so much here in MPainter, like completely change the layout, import other data, pull in charts, maps, really so much more. For this calendar though, I mainly just want to remove these fields in the calendar entries. So I'll just delete them all here. And once that's done, I just want to put a couple of fields in here. I really only want to display the last name of the prospect and the salesperson's name. Okay, that's done. But before I show you what it looks like, I want to do a couple of things first. I want to add some conditional rendering here to quickly indicate the status of each appointment. So suppose that our salesperson had an appointment and it went well. The prospect agreed to our quote. The salesperson will update the status to approved, and if it's approved, then I want to have a green background for this calendar entry. And that way, anyone who's looking at the calendar can look and see a green entry, know this is an approved deal. I'm going to do the same thing 3 more times for each of my different status options. So I'm going to set the display to orange if the quote is pending. It'll be gray if the quote was declined. And just a standard blue if the appointment has yet to happen. But I'm going to finish all that up in the background and skip the video ahead so this doesn't get too repetitive. Okay, so I'm all done with that. I have my conditional colors in there. So now we'll be able to know the status of each calendar listing just by looking at it. And now one more thing before we check it out. I'm going to reformat this form in here as I'd like to use the space in the pop-up box a little better. And this is just a matter of splitting rows and dragging and dropping my form fields where I want them. I'll finish this up in the background and skip ahead since it's a really straightforward process. Okay, so I'm done arranging the form. Just a couple more things. First, I'd like to add a drop-down box here on the salesperson name so we can just select a salesperson rather than typing it in each time. And to do that, I'm going to create a data model over the salesperson database. So that way, if we ever need to add or remove salespeople, this dropdown will be current because it's pulling the data straight from that salesperson database. And these data models are a very powerful feature in Empower as they let you use data in other tables within any application. All right, so I'm done with that drop down. And now let's just add one more drop down to our status field, as that will only have one of four predefined options. This time I'm using a quick list, which is great for drop downs like this, where there's only a few options and they won't be changing. So I just need to add my options here. One for appointment, one for approved, one for pending, and one for declined. Okay, so I'm all done with this now, which means I'm done with my form. So I'll save it and we can check it out. There, it's looking a lot better now. The color coding helps me identify where each appointment is in the process. Now, if I go back to previous appointments, I can easily see which ones were successful and which ones weren't, and which ones we're still waiting on. Let's see how easy it is to change that. Suppose that prospect just sent over a signed contract. I'll just open up the appointment and switch the status. Once it's switched, the color automatically updates. Or suppose a prospect called and rescheduled their appointment. I can just drag and drop it to a different day. Now, suppose I need to add a new appointment to the calendar. I'll just click on the date and this form pops up. Let me quickly fill this out real fast. I'll just add a few details in here and then click this button to add it to my calendar. Now you see that I have a new appointment in here. So this calendar is working great, but once it's in the calendar, how will the salesperson know that they have a new appointment? It's not very efficient to manually notify them. So let's add an automatic notification so the salesperson gets the details sent to them whenever they have a new appointment. To do that, let's open up Empower's Workflow Designer. Empower's Workflow Designer lets me create all types of automations that can be triggered by a number of different conditions. I don't have time to show you everything, but I could really do a lot in here. For instance, I could even set up an API for, say, the salesperson's Google Calendar and automatically have appointments added to their own calendar when they're added to this calendar. I won't set that up in this video, but we do have other videos on working with APIs in Empower. For this video, though, I do want to have it send an email to the salesperson when a new appointment is added. I'll set the recipient to be the email address associated with the assigned salesperson. Then I'll quickly write up an email that includes all the information they need to know about the appointment. And the nice thing about this is that I can include database fields in my email. That way, every email will automatically send the correct data for that appointment. So the salesperson doesn't even need to check their scheduling calendar. They have all the information they need in their email. Now, every time I add a new appointment, the salesperson will receive a notification. Let's test that real fast. I'll add a new appointment first. And one thing, I'm choosing a salesperson with an email address that I can check for this video. And I'll just speed through adding this appointment. And once I hit accept, it should have automatically sent an email to his account. So let's open up his email account and check. And as you can see, it's generated an email with all the appointment information and sent it to the correct salesperson. So this is working great. And let's do a couple more things before we finish. Let's say that a salesperson has just had an appointment and wants to update the calendar with the estimate and any notes about the appointment. I'd like to give them a simple interface where they can update it while on their phones. I'll quickly create a new application over the same data that I'm using for my scheduling calendar, but this time I'll use a data list with web form template. It's using the same database table, just a different template. This application will let my salespeople access appointments in a table format and update each one with notes. Now, before I build, though, let's do one thing. I would like to add a filter here that will make sure that each salesperson only sees their appointments. And it's using a little built-in security feature called row-level security. It's also known as multi-tenant security. It basically means that different users can access the same application but only see their data. And while I've been talking, I've started the build phase. You notice that the build process for this one was pretty much the same as the last one. And that's thanks to Empower's template-based approach. The build process is the same, but every application can be customized however you want once it's built. And before I run this application, I do need to turn on security, which will force users to log in to use this application. And if I turn on security, I need to have users with login info, so I'll add my salespeople in here and make sure that I add their salesperson ID number, as that's used for the row level security that I added in this application. I'll add the rest of the salespeople in the background and skip ahead for sake of time. Okay, so that's done. Now let's run this app and see what it's like. I now have to log in, and I'll use one of the credentials I just set up. You can see that it lists all the appointments for this salesperson and lets me update each one. The great part is that Empower automatically creates responsive apps. So if a salesperson opens the app on their phone, it will automatically adapt to that device. Now, suppose that we need to update the notes on this entry. I can quickly add an update to my notes right in here. And once I've updated this form, these changes automatically show up in the calendar because we're both working over the same database table. So if I go back and reopen my calendar, you'll see that the appointment has been updated in there as well. Okay, let's do one last thing before we finish. We now have a nice calendar to manage appointments. Let's make it easy for our team to access it. Now, Empower has a built-in menuing system that lets me create nice portals for easy application access. I set up a help desk portal beforehand just to show you what it looks like. And you can see that I have a bunch of other applications that my users can access. Okay, so let's add this appointment calendar to this portal. I'll just go into Empower and add the menu item here. I just need to select my application, give it a title, a short description, select an icon, and choose which users can access this menu. Once I'm done, let's go back to our help desk portal and check it out. Now, there's a lot more I could do to this calendar. For instance, I could set up workflows that get triggered when we get a signed contract, or I could even use an API to pass this data to another piece of software in your business. But for sake of time, I won't do any of that now. If you'd like to learn more or set up a demo, visit our website at mrc-productivity.com. Thanks for watching.